Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
And I'm Katie.
Over there you are. Yes, you are. And did you know that Disneyland Handcrafted was put on hold after a development phase? And because of this, it almost wasn't made. You actually do know this, but
I did know that.
Yes, because you were at the event that I was at, and that made for a fun night. But we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Before we get into all of that, what should people do, Katie?
You should go to places, I think. Oh my gosh, there's a frog in my throat. You should go to YouTube. We didn't do this last week. So now
Anywhere you're watching.
Yeah. You should subscribe. That's what you should do right here, right now. Why not? You should also go to Daps Magic HQ at patreon.com/dapsmagic or dapsmagic.com/dapsmagichq. Is that what I heard?
dapsmagic.com/dapshq.
/dapshq.
I should make like a little lower third thing.
Yeah, you sure should. And
Yes.
then also go into the comments and share what you're watching, or share where you're watching. What? No, weird. Give us. Sorry, I'm rusty, guys. Whatever. Share something in the comments because we do have a section towards the end called comments.
There you go. And it has been a very big week in Disney news, Disney and positive stuff news. But we're not going to get into everything because we could just keep going forever. Andy does want to make his own opinions known about them, apparently. So we'll see how that goes. But first off, perhaps most exciting, not most exciting, but it's up there. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, boy.
They're expanding the timeline. They're adding new characters. They're changing up shops and props and maybe even Oga's Cantina. Yes, they're bringing the original trilogy characters and storyline into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which means you will now, when you go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you could find characters anywhere from the original series. Well, I should do this numerically, huh? Anywhere from 6 through 9 of the Skywalker saga, along with characters of the Mandoverse. And that's going to be interesting. Also, they're going to be in regions of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So I made this cool little handy dandy graphic thing. And as you can see, it goes from east to west chronologically. So the oldest stuff is on the east side of Galaxy's Edge, which is where the Galactic Civil War or the original trilogy would be found. So that's where you're going to find your Han Solos, your Princess Leia, your Chewbacca, your Darth Vader down in what's currently the First Order camp, or stormtroopers even, which tried to arrest me on Sunday, but these were First Order.
I was like, well...
Different stormtroopers.
Stormtrooper?
Yes. Then... in the middle area, which is the marketplace, which is basically where you find them today, you're going to find the characters of the New Republic. So you're going to find your Mando and Grogu, your Ahsoka Tano, your Boba Fett, which is funny because if you change his outfit a little bit, he could also be in the Galactic Civil War area, but he's not.
No.
Then you keep heading west. I don't know if it's actually west on Batuu, but for Disneyland, it's west, I think. And then you get to the Age of the Resistance, which is where you would find Rey and Rey. That's the only one that's been announced. But throughout basically anywhere, you might find Chewbacca, because in my head, he fits in all of these.
Yeah.
R2-D2.
Yeah.
All of these.
Yeah.
So, they will be wandering around as well.
So to answer Chris Glass's question,
yes,
assuming we get the prequels one day, where would you squeeze in Jar Jar? The answer is also everywhere.
And we don't know where Jar Jar's story ends, do we?
That's why I'm saying Jar Jar goes everywhere.
For all we know, Jar Jar just keeps on going. So
Misa and the Mandalorian.
Best bet is Galactic Civil War. Maybe he was a general for the rebellion. Yeah. We don't know. Maybe he was one of those senators that just didn't do anything. And then when they're making the new Republic, he just keeps being a senator and doesn't do anything. And then he turns out he's not there when the planet's blown up. So he actually makes it into the Age of Resistance as well. So maybe he's like Chewbacca.
Maybe he's just an Oga's.
I like the idea of him being like Chewbacca, where he could go anywhere.
That was what I was pitching, yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. And I'm sure if Itzy were on, she would love that too.
It's true.
Anyway, this is a fundamental change in how Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is operated, kind of. Because Disneyland has already been incrementally changing and adding more eras with the New Republic stuff, or the Mandoverse. What do you think of them completely unlocking, though, the original trilogy?
It's about time, honestly. I think, and it's something that you and I have talked about since the land opened, there's just so many people that just don't get it. It's like, oh, it's okay. Let's throw Sonic branding aside. Let's throw all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. And you need to know this too. Star Wars Land. A guest who's not done their research, that whatever, they go, oh boy, at Disneyland they built a Star Wars land. What would you expect to see at a Star Wars land?
Darth Vader,
Chewbacca, maybe Han Solo. Like, you're expecting classic Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And
Princess
then, like,
Leia, did you say that?
I did not.
Okay, Princess Leia.
And like, you expect to see the Millennium Falcon. You expect to see maybe a Death Star. You expect, like, these are things that you like expect to see. And then you're like, oh, and you know, they did those new movies. Maybe there's like one of them Rey Skywalkers walking around. Sure. And we saw actively the amount of people that were so like, wait,
even on the opening day.
Where's Darth Vader?
Like, there was obviously a lot of super fans there on the opening day that knew exactly what they were getting into, had watched every video that Disneyland had Disney had released, and knew this is the era we're getting into. But there were also many like, oh, I thought there'd be Darth Vaders, or oh, I thought Obi-Wan Kenobi would be here, which I think would be a wonderful addition if you're soliciting advice, Disney. Can you imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi walking around the Millennium Falcon?
What are we thinking? Are we thinking like Kenobi era? Are we thinking old man Kenobi? Are we thinking prequels era?
There's not a ton of options by what's given to us.
Those are 3 options.
We have Galactic Civil War, and everything beyond that,
okay.
he's a ghost.
So old man
it's
Kenobi.
Old man Kenobi, and you get an old man to play him, and it would be amazing.
No, you just get old man Kenobi, easy.
Yes, but as time has gone by, I've continued to I like to go in and take pictures of the characters there. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I notice very frequently is with the new characters, you see younger dads and their kids, or younger parents, I should say, and their kids excited about Mando, Ahsoka, Kylo Ren. Everybody's excited about Chewbacca. Like, even on Sunday, I was in the park and I saw lots of young families and kids excited about the characters in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I saw everybody excited about R2-D2, because why wouldn't you be?
It's a
and
droid.
Everybody's excited about Chewbacca. And that went through all age groups. Yeah. And then there was one interaction out of dozens I watched with an older group that was probably all retired, and there was 4 of them, and clearly had no clue who Kylo Ren was, but decided they were going to try to interact with them anyway.
Oh, that's fun.
It didn't go so well.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was just like 2 different languages happening, and
that's amazing.
They're like using references from wrong periods, and Kylo Ren is saying what Kylo Ren does, and it just was not connecting. And it was very funny, and they had fun with it, but it just didn't work.
Well, that was also the other piece that was, and listen, Disney was doing what Disney does best, and I'm looking at my camera. Okay, let me have this moment with my people.
All right, have your camera.
So Disney did what Disney does, and they were like, we're going to tell this intricate story that is deeply woven in this, that, the other. But also, there is definitely a problem of, so we are time locked specifically between the 8th and the 9th film. Kylo has not broken his mask yet. General Organa is still around. I was like, throw it all out the window. I just want, like, listen,
we just want Star Wars.
Like, you can tell
just
me
Star Wars, basic
over
Star
here,
Wars.
General Organa, and then over there I can see Princess Leia, and I will have the best time of my life. Okay, like, it was, even as a fan of Star Wars, if you could call me that, even as a fan of Star Wars, it was sometimes confusing for me, or just almost felt like putting it in a box where I was like, oh, that would have been so cool, but can't because of the time lock.
So I loved it when it came out because it fit with the time that we were at with new Star Wars movies. And I was like, okay, I get this. I think it's a good way to incorporate the new Star Wars movies. The trick being is I quickly realized, and I like to watch guests, is exactly what I was saying, is it wasn't connecting with all of the ages. And clearly Disney has recognized as well. But I think it's a fantastic thing for them to do. Like it's a good way to, I'm not going to say retcon this, but it's a good way to make it more accessible to all people in a way that you don't have to completely rebuild the land and make it Tatooine or Endor or something, which is already very familiar to people.
I like it being a blank slate land.
And if you've read some of the books,
it's not
basically every character has gone there. Like they've built in some backstories for, Darth Vader and Anakin are there, or Anakin's there at one point. I think Darth Vader's there.
I mean, Anakin and Darth Vader.
I actually think Padme was there.
Because you know what Padme's favorite drink is?
That's right.
Alderani and teal wine.
Yes. And so there's lots of connections that build into the world and fit with Batuu. And it'll be fun to see how this is received at Disneyland. And then if anything is previous history is any indicator, I should say, is we will start seeing changes like this coming to Florida at some point too, especially if it's as popular as I think it. Like I expect this to
revitalize.
Not that it needs revitalization, because on Sunday I was there and the place was packed.
Yeah.
Like anytime there's characters out, people love it. And there was people getting all the three different types of, I guess I only saw two, of the milks. And everybody was lining up to get their last shot at Oga's before it closed today. And like, there was a lot going on. And so it'll be interesting to see how it's received. But I predict it's going to be received very well. And then I would tend to guess you're going to start seeing this in Florida as well at some point, just because I think there's going to be money to be made here.
And honestly, I'm surprised. If I was to go on my like weird business analytical side, it's surprising to me that Florida did not. Thank you. It's surprising to me that Florida didn't do this first, because Florida, really,
they don't do anything first in Star Wars. It's always been us.
Well, yes, I meant more in the guest base at Walt Disney World is more tourist based.
Oh yeah, I agree with that completely. I just think they don't like to change things as often because you can't make experiments. No, I agree with you on that.
I was just saying something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would have thought that this would have happened in Florida first, because it's like you have all these guests that are coming for this once in a lifetime trip, and it's like, oh, they're maybe going to be the people that this appeals to the most, as where Disneyland is a lot of annual pass holder base.
But I think that's the exact reason they're not.
Okay.
Is because it's a once in a lifetime thing. And so if you're going expecting one thing, and then they're testing something, like on the off chance that this actually doesn't work for some reason, which would shock me, like that would blow me away. Then the damage is like, oh, some regular guests that come multiple times a year, or tourists that also come quite frequently, well, they can go to it next time. And I think there's not as much risk here, which is why we got Mando first, which is why we're also closer to where a lot of this stuff is made. So that probably helps too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're
going to move along because we are going to get on to the main part of the show tonight, which is quite exciting. Disneyland Handcrafted comes to Disney Plus and YouTube in just 2 days. Hard to believe it. We saw it almost 2 weeks ago, and it is still stuck in my brain. But before we get into and the music too.
Oh my God.
We could do an entire episode, and we'll do that once it's in the land. We'll talk about that. But we got to experience an incredible night at the Walt Disney Studios, seeing the blue carpet premiere of Disneyland Handcrafted. And we're going to show you the trailer real quick. We're going to also comment on it of things that we noticed. And
Sportscasting, but not sports.
yes, maybe this is the first try with this. We will see. We don't have our jackets though.
Yeah,
we need the jackets.
We don't have jackets.
Anyway, let's see how this goes and works because we're also testing technology.
Yeah.
Oh, it's working, I think.
Fade in.
So if you can't hear us, this is what you're seeing at not the first scene.
It's not. No.
Like I thought it was
even.
going to be, and there's other stuff before. We won't spoil it too much, but
I will say the beginning surprised me.
the beginning surprised me as well too.
This is a really crazy, not to be like acting like I'm a director doing commentary, but like this is the really crazy shot to me because it's like you look at that, and if you know where that building is, you're like, wait, but how does Disneyland get here?
And it's interesting that we just saw Walt and the guy from ABC because we really don't see talking heads at all during this. And that was kind of an interesting thing as well.
I also thought that the creation of the berm was absolutely fascinating. Like, yeah, I know that they pushed all that dirt to make a physical berm. But like, watching it,
described this great park.
Also,
I knew that
just
this was not a good idea.
if you're from
who was gonna
OSHA,
drive
just
30 or 40
don't
miles?
watch
We'll get
anything
into
that's
that. We
happening.
will definitely get into that.
Just like, also, the
For a
thing that
first-hand
I'm amazed by
progress
all the
report.
time,
Let's visit Disneyland now.
and
I think we've now seen the entirety that you see Walt on camera as a talking head in this.
yeah, pretty much.
This,
The thing I liked the most
documentary
about
now.
those
No.
days was it was a great
don't see a
thing
lot of
to
him
have
as a
somebody
talking
say,
head.
Not as a
"Well, the
talking
story."
head, but they show the clips from.
You see stuff like this. You don't see him standing in front of
They show the clips from
a few, yes.
Yeah.
Pressures were
Um,
tremendous on everybody. We all
yeah,
lived
they-
down there, and we worked from early
OSHA
morning
don't.
to late
OSHA
at
don't
night.
look.
Most people in Hollywood thought
it
Disneyland
is
would be a Hollywood
so
spectacular,
insane
a
to see these
spectacular
things that
failure.
are
So Roy
still
Disney said,
alive
"What do you
and
mean,
well in
most
Disneyland?"
people in Hollywood?"
And I'm just
He
going to
says,
give you a
"That's what I
quick
thought."
pitch.
It was just
Is
like a
Clocky and I are
great
working on a PhotoNix episode that's going to be loosely related to this. And I will say the approach of how you see things at Disneyland will change once you have seen this documentary.
Yeah.
And that goes from things in Fantasyland to Main Street to Frontierland to Tomorrow, like all of the original lands. You now notice something very different, or you approach it in a very different fashion than when you did before you've seen this.
Yeah, my favorite was Galaxy's Edge, and then a close second was DCA.
You know what? They don't even show us making, or they don't even show them making the parking lot.
Yeah, what the heck?
Spoiler
I want to
alert,
see
sorry.
the making of the parking lot.
I don't know. That's a really good question. We'll come back to that during comments.
Oh boy.
But yeah, we don't see the parking lot being made. I don't think we do see.
No, you don't.
We do see shots of the
You see
parking
shots
lot.
of it, yeah.
But you don't see the parking lot being made. And I will say the way this is structured is very fascinating because it's chronological from basically a year before leading up to opening day. And there's a few things that they play with before and at the beginning, at the end. But you literally do see blank slate, as we just saw in this trailer, up to, hey, this is your land, Disneyland, come on in. Like they're showing it off. And this was an interesting approach to how to do this because they don't use talking heads. Like they don't have the interviews that are from, like they didn't go and say, hey, Bob, you were there. Can you talk about 70 years ago? Instead, they went and they found a bunch of old clips that were either used or not used back in the day and used those to narrate this documentary. And so you would hear people talking over what was happening in front of you and telling the story, but you didn't see them like sitting, the stereotypical, the camera's slightly off center and you're looking at the producer as you talk.
What was the thing that they did the documentary for? It was Disney, where they're all on the 33 balcony and they're all slightly off centered.
Was it?
It's in It's in Opera House right now. They're using clips from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that they're the balcony, Rivers of America's behind them. They're slightly off center. They're like, yeah. So I think that
But they do it on everything. You know, I'm sure
Correct.
it's an Imagineering story. I'm spacing it at the moment, but they didn't do that for this, and they don't. Like, there's a couple moments where they actually show clips from television. Great. But, like, those weren't really the stars of it. They were more of moments and
Supplemental.
times that showed, hey, this is where we're at in this process. And what they did show is not only Disneyland being built, but also how they filmed this. So you actually see the tower where some of the hyperlapse cameras were at that they had to go through and update every once in a while. And it was weird going back to Disneyland right after seeing this, because I was standing in the hub and I'm like, yeah, about here is where that tower was. And then you think, like, this is before there's a Partners statue. This is before there's a Matterhorn. This is before so many things that we're familiar with in Disneyland. And so there's
Before like all of Tomorrowland.
today's, yeah. I mean, like, the rocket's back, but yeah, the rocket's back there, but it's very weird to look at all of these familiar but weird things, because it's not quite right. Like, things have grown, things have developed, and that's a very fun thing to see happen over the course of 7 decades. And then I think another big part of this documentary is, I think most people know the financial risk of Disneyland. And most people have a recognition of, like, oh, it was built really fast.
Yes.
I don't think there's a in the front of your mind recognition of how close this thing was to disaster.
There's not. Even when you've heard the story a million times of, oh, the high heels were sinking, and like, you're like, yeah, that's
Don Hahn.
yeah. But, you know, you hear those stories all the time and you're like, oh, ha ha ha. But like,
Water versus, bathrooms
Bathroom
versus drinks.
versus-
That's
these
a
are-
better version.
these are the stories you've heard a million times. But what I took away, and I think I referenced this in the article I wrote, is really the infrastructure of Disneyland was built in like 6 months. Everything aesthetic was built in like 3.
It was so fast.
And that's like, because they were like, it goes into the breakdown of how far we are out from opening. And every time, me knowing how the story ends, I'd go, oh, they're not gonna make it. Oh, they're not. There's no way. Because like, what you see in front of you in Disneyland Handcrafted, it makes no logical sense other than it was a bunch of people that were working basically around the clock to make this thing happen.
Well, and it shows the power of a strong vision with a passionate leader with lieutenants around them that may not understand or believe in the vision, but they believe in the man or the person. So they're pushing forward, and then that just trickles out. And honestly, what is it? Is it which World of Color? Is it the current? No, it was the one before it. World of Color 1, where it's about the trickle effect or the ripple
drop.
effect.
Yeah.
And it really is that kind of a thing of Walt's influence just out and about and reaching the front line, whether it's somebody doing electric or somebody painting or whatever.
Making bricks.
You see so many different elements of this, and then you just realize that if they don't meet the deadline of opening in July, the funding dries up, and then the park doesn't happen. And technically, I mean, it sounds like it would go into being owned by the bank or ABC. Like, there's a lot of things that if you don't hit that deadline, there's so many other things that could go wrong with not just Disneyland, but the company and Walt going broke again, and whatever. And that was fascinating to see, just the domino effect of like, oh no, this has to happen. And then also just hearing how they deal with these problems, and some of them they kind of just go meh, and they don't deal with them. They just keep pushing forward. And at one point they talk about Roy, where it's like, oh, don't bother Walt with problems, bring them to me. And that was fascinating. And just hearing all of these different little pieces of the puzzle that make this work. And it really is a fantastic documentary. One other thing that has to be recognized and talked about, and we've talked about it before and several times I think now, is all of the audio for the videos, unless it's talking, was recreated for this film. And because all of the video was shot without any audio.
Yeah.
And so Leslie Iwerks, who just did a phenomenal job, went up to Skywalker Sound. And in one of the interviews I heard her say, it sounded like they did this in like a day or two.
That's nuts.
And so they did all the Foley, and we got told this before we saw this, so that's why I'm telling you, because now you were cursed with this blessed burden that we were cursed with. You will now be watching and listening as you see this documentary when a bell rings, or when the spike is driven into the railroad. Like, you're going to start noticing these things, and you're going to notice how well they line up, two, how natural they all feel, whether it's the bell on the Mark Twain or the different sounds of spikes as different people hit different spikes for the railroad. Like, it's incredible attention to detail. And that's really where I came from, away from this, going, yes, this is Disneyland handcrafted, because Disneyland was handcrafted, but you could easily say the same thing about this documentary.
Yeah, I mean, there are two options you could go down here. You could be Mr. Daps, and you could be like so thinking about it the whole time, and you're like, wow, this is amazing how they did this. I can't believe that the sound wasn't here originally. Or you could be me, and you could be the thing that Daisy Buchanan from The Great Gatsby says the best thing a woman could be, and that is a beautiful fool, okay? I forgot immediately, and I was like, wow, this sounds so good. And then it was about like halfway through the film that I went, oh, that's right, none of this audio is original. And then I immediately forgot again, and I was like, wow, railroad spikes. And then after the movie was over, I was like, whoa. So it's okay, guys, if you forget and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Or other possibility, everyone's just smarter than me, and that's okay. I just get very wrapped up in things very easily. Okay.
Totally fair.
But
I mean, there's a lot to be wrapped up in, and honestly, you could talk hours about this. And I think it's one of those documentaries that you can watch over and over and over again and pick up more things each time, because there were so many good quotes I heard during this. Quotes about perseverance and vision and I said perseverance and just like
innovation
and
it almost
vision.
feels like a TED Talk for leadership.
It is. And then there's also all of the terrifying moments that we just won't cover on this, because I'll let you discover them on your own. And then just stuff that maybe we've seen this much of the clip in a Disneyland show or what. Like, there's quite a few clips. I don't know if it's quite a few, but there's a few that you're like, oh yeah, I've seen this. But then you're seeing it in context of a bigger portion around it. And you're like, oh, I haven't seen all this. And that's a really fun thing to see. And so I think everybody that I've talked to about this, I've told them, so I'm going to tell you, is I would like to watch it at least 12 more times. At least, because I just think there's that much to garner out of it and to pull out of it. And I think it's one of those documentaries that probably will become almost like a Disney 101. Like, if you're a Disney fan, you will have seen this, and this is one that you want to see early, because it really is so foundational, especially the Disney park story. And I think that's something that's really special and is a gift to us as the Disney community. And then for historians as well, just to see this moment in time where you get to see something this iconic built with all of its ups and downs. Like, there's things that you see on this that, maybe a Disney of 20 years ago would not show, but the Disney of today is showing. And I'm very thankful for that, because they are showing warts and all. And some of that is the like, oh, this isn't so safe, or this isn't so perfect, but it will be, because you know where it's going. And I think that's a great thing. But now we're getting to the fun part of the show, especially tonight, because I feel like with Disneyland Handcrafted, there's going to be quite a few questions. So feel free to ask them, because it's time for comments. That is right. It is time for comments. So We're going to go through. I saw a few questions popping up in here as we were talking. I'm going to back up and see if I could find what?
I was like, we talked about Galaxy Edge to Florida. Ooh.
But there was more. So
Yeah.
let me make sure I go back. We did answer the Jar Jar question. There we go. Here we go. Could you do a projection and interact like how they do with Turtle Talk or Crusher Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor? Being immobile instead of roaming is a problem though. Oh, for
Galaxy's Edge.
yes, but for
Obi-Wan
Kenobi. So Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think you totally could. Even if it was just in the way that they're doing Bard right now, you know, like how Bard projects things.
Oh,
you could kind of play with that and maybe project him during one of the shows or something.
Galaxy's Edge original character Bard.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so when do we expect? We did do that one. I could bring in Thrawn, and we can make Pandora Avatar jokes at him. I'm sure he'd love that. I don't know if that would go well for us. Like that might be a problem. Let's see.
Also, I broke the news. Bailey said that when she told somebody at her work, they gasped. I've got to break the news to somebody that works with me that has a close connection to the land. She had a similar reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like she literally went, "Oh my gosh, finally!"
Do you think we'll ever get a movie this nostalgic made for DCA? It will really depend on...
I don't know that there's footage.
There is, I'm sure, because I think I've seen footage of cameras in the land.
I don't know.
And I would guess there is somewhere. The part that I would wonder is we're at a very unique time in the Disney company's history. And in the next few weeks, months, whatever it's going to be, we're going to get a new CEO. And it'll depend on how that CEO runs things, how he or she empowers people underneath them, and if this is viewed as something that's important as the Walt Disney Company moves on. So this documentary really happened, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Did You Know? Is this was originally being developed for Disney Plus after the Imagineering story. As happens, a pandemic comes along, things close up shop, budgets dry up, whatever, and this kind of gets shelved for a while, and it didn't have anywhere to go. And then through one of those happenstance chance conversations, Leslie Iwerks was talking to a guy named Jason Recker, who oversees a lot of digital stuff for Disney Experiences, and said, "Hey, I have this thing we were working on, but it's not going anywhere." And so he asked to see it. She sends it over. He says, "This is great. It needs to happen." And so this actually came out of Disney Experiences and not Disney Entertainment, which I find fascinating. But I like that they empowered Jason to do this, or Jason felt empowered to do this and then made it happen. I like that Bob Iger and Josh D'Amaro were open to seeing this project move forward and then seeing it being put on Disney Plus and YouTube. My hunch is it was always destined for YouTube, because we're seeing a lot of programming going onto YouTube from whether it's Experiences or Imagineering or whatever. But there's a lot of things that lined up correctly with the right people in the right place, the right time. And so for a DCA version of this to happen, you would need all of those things to happen as well. And you would also need to have a person with a vision and a passion for it, which Leslie Iwerks clearly has for this. And I don't know if, like, there probably is that person. I just don't know who it is.
You took the fun question and you made it analytical.
Sorry.
What
do you think?
I was going to say is
Fire
that
away.
I hope that they would, because this would be Real Housewives level drama, guys. I'm talking the Imagineers think all the other ideas are stupid. They're putting in things. They're like, this is my thing over here. This is my thing over here. But my controversial take, oh gosh, I don't know that they could make this documentary anytime right now, because I don't think there's a current happy ending to the DCA story, because what the park set out to do was a California adventure in the state of California. It was, what if you could experience all of California in one day? Great idea. Awful in execution. What is it now? There's an Avengers Land. They may be in California, and Pixar's based in California. And also, we still have that Italian restaurant that we have from 1.0 and Jumpin' Jellyfish. I don't know. I don't know that there's a big enough arc to say anything. You know? Like, what are you going to say? And this is the corner where we tore out the Muppets. That's sad.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know. Like, anything like this has to be in the future. Like, and it wouldn't be made today. I think that's a safe thing to say, because they're still making and remaking DCA. But I could also make the counter argument that they're making and remaking Disneyland, and you could make many of the same arguments of like, oh, well, what happened with Tomorrowland, or oh, what happened with Critter Country? You know, like there's been moments like this in every Disney park. DCA and Walt Disney Studios have just had a few more of them.
I was going to say, I just don't think that, like, I also don't think we would get this for Walt Disney Studios Paris.
I think we could soon. That one I actually see earlier than DCA, because I think there's more interest in that from the local Disneyland Paris team. I could see something like that happening, especially when they're on the 5-year or even 1-year anniversary of Disney Adventure World being a thing, because now you have a park that's relatively complete.
I would be fascinated by an entire one of these for the Disneyland Paris resort, because I think
you
like
could.
Everything from the strikes with Euro Disney to renaming it to Disneyland Paris to like all of these things, I would find fascinating. Like, I would watch.
It'd be interesting to see how deep they got into those too. But you do need a storyteller like Leslie Iwerks.
100%.
That's going to show the like, oh, these are the struggles, these are the wins, and because I think the challenges of the story are what make the ending so great. Like the fact that the success that much better.
Yeah.
And that's really any good story. Like, if you don't have a good obstacle that you've overcome, well, who cares how it ends up then? Because then it's just whatever. So I think that's where this could happen. Looking at, do you think they could ever screen it in the park?
They could.
I actually do think they could. My guess is it would be a D23 event or a Magic Key event or something special, because I think it's about an hour and a half long. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think it would be one of those things where it's like, oh, we're just going to do previews of this throughout the day in, the Magic Eye Theater. Like, I don't think that would happen, but I could see them being like, oh, Disneyland's 75th anniversary, we're going to do a Magic Key showing of this, sign up for it. Or D20 or a Disney Plus perk, you can sign up for it and you can get a discounted Disneyland. Like, I could see there's certain ways that they could make this happen that would fit their business model of not only sharing this with more of the world, but also bringing more people into the parks and making that a destination point in the night. All right, we hit the question. Those are good questions.
Well, there's more.
Oh, there's more?
It says new comments.
Oh, new comments. I love a physical release of these documents. That would be very cool. What park should get the treatment next? Excellent question.
Paris.
Actually, no, I think Walt Disney World should get one like this next.
Really?
I would be very intrigued to see one for Walt Disney World next that really got into the Roy Disney elements of it, because I think so often that gets overlooked. And yes, you hear how important he was into carrying on his brother's legacy, but I think he's also one that we could and should recognize and honor a whole lot more, because if it weren't for him, we don't have the Disney of today. And I think you could say that about most of the CEOs that have taken on that role through the years, like with one or two exceptions, maybe just one. And but that's the one I would do next, and then I'd do Disneyland Paris.
You keep getting so reflective tonight, so I was just like, I also think 2.0 would have been the right window for a DCA doc, because DCA 2.0 was this like utopian version of California Adventure. Bugs Land still existed. There was still paper fast passes.
But I don't think you can do 2.0 without 1.0. Like, I think you need the 1.0.
No, we weren't saying how I just said I don't think there's a success story. I think that say you made this documentary in 2012 or 2013 or 2014 and you say, this is the land we started with, this is the creation, and this is how we built 2.0.
Maybe.
Like, yeah, but now it feels weird because since 2.0, we're at like what, 2.5, 2.8.
Well, and really you want to see what happens with Disneyland Forward, but
correct.
That's never going to stop. Like that is the challenge. Disney Sea would be fantastic as well, but once again, that one I actually think you would almost need, like you almost need the foundational piece for all of these because then you can build on them. And I mean, you think of Disneyland Paris and how they decided to use real stuff to build the parks as opposed to plaster, like there's so many interesting foundational stories that teach lessons that were learned later. So I almost feel like you need to do that. And they kind of covered some of them in Disney, the Imagineering story. So I don't know, like it would really come down to like, what's the story that needs to be told? And is it pivotal in the story of the Walt Disney Company? Because I think one of the things that this one does is it really shows how it's a pivot point in Disney, in not just Walt Disney's life, but like how it is that point where really the main focal point at that point in Disney's history pivots from studios to now there's these two focal points of parks and studios, and then it just keeps going and parks keeps growing, and now parks are bigger than studios. And that's kind of amazing. All right, we will talk more about this on Daps After Dark if you would like. We are running out of time. So, Katie, what should people do?
You should go to dapsmagic.com, check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens. You should subscribe to our mailing list so you don't miss any of it. You should also go to dapsmagic.com/dapshq and find where we're doing Daps After Dark tonight.
I do need to make that little graphic thing.
Yeah,
That's
you really
a good
do.
idea. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a ton of videos going up, including Lunar New Year's stuff and Disneyland After Dark Sweetheart stuff this week, which will be a very busy week now that I'm verbalizing this, but it will be a lot of fun. And on Daps After Dark tonight, we will be giving a clue into some of the things that will be happening for the 800th episode of Geeks Corner, which is next week.
Oh, I think this means that this was like
This is your 500th episode.
500th.
Congratulations. But that is all the time we have for you this week. We will see you round the corner.
Bye.